What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about Pragmata. It's actually been quite a while, and I thought, well, with the June period heating up, and while Capcom doesn't actually have anything announced, at least at the time I'm recording this, number one, I think they're going to do something. I think we're going to get some sort of show from them. They've been pretty darn consistent, much like Ubisoft has, much like Xbox and PlayStation has, and when they do announce it, again, not a full-on guarantee, but pretty close, what could they show? Well, Resident Evil 9, we've talked quite a bit about it. I've been trying to cover as many Resident Evil 9 rumors and leaks as possible. But there's another game coming from them. There's a couple, but Pragmata is one that I've really been interested in since the first time, the very first time they showed it. We've been kind of keeping up with it, I would say year over year. Every year they just delay it till the next year. And actually, I had to refresh my own memory. If you go back to last year, they just didn't even give a updated release. They apologized yet again. Remember, it originally was, I believe, 2022 was the original release year. Then it became 2023. And then last year, again, they apologize again. And they just say, hey, we don't even want to say a date anymore. We don't even want to say a year that we're going to release this game. So it's actually pretty okay timing. When I'm recording this video, I think actually earlier today, Dusk Golem was actually doing, which, you may know him from the Resident Evil rumors, right? He actually talked about the supposed Pragmata plot or, story. So what I think is kind of interesting, and again, what this lines up really well with June, I would say a couple of things. The next time we see a Capcom show, I think Resident Evil obviously is kind of the headliner, but I do think Pragmata is there. And I think because maybe starting today, the rumors are going to start kicking off a little bit for this game. Now, does this mean that this game comes out this year? Highly doubt it. I feel like this is probably, and this could be actually really nice for Capcom. If you think about 2025, you're probably going to have Resident Evil 9. You have Monster Hunter in 2025. If you had Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, and you had like Pragmata, say in the fall, which is, a year and a half away from now, Capcom is already crushing it pretty much across the board. They've had very few misses recently. I think next year would be absolutely gigantic. So I just feel this is the time. I do feel like there's almost not urgency might not be the right word, but I do feel the next time we see Capcom, and specifically the next time we see Pragmata, I think a couple things have to happen. I do think this time you got to give a year and you got to stick with the year, right? I'd also love to be like a fly in the wall and really find out like what the idea for this game was, right? Because they announced this years and years ago, and then it gets delayed every single year just to the next year. So like, has the scope really expanded? Were there just massive, whether it's rewrites or just redesigning the game entirely? Like, I believe in it. I think the central premise seems pretty cool. This futuristic type, post-apocalyptic almost type thing. Again, Capcom has been pretty darn consistent in terms of their like big IPs. This is a new one, so yeah, there is a chance that they mess that one up, but I overall feel pretty good about it. I feel like the best case scenarios, they've just really been trying to give the team time to actually make it, right? Time to cook, where it's like, okay, we're not going to rush them. This could be a big thing. We've actually talked about this in the past. I think there might have actually been some sort of data or something that Capcom once said, because I remember doing a video on it. I feel like they have once said, or it was on a website or something, that they do expect Pragmata to be like a franchise, not just an individual game. They want it to like maybe have spin-offs, maybe have sequels, but like be a legitimate thing, be a pillar of Capcom. So in order to do that, you do have to land with the first game, or you can't have the first game be terrible. You can't really make a franchise out of a first game that's terrible. So, but I do think we see it if they do something in June, if they do something in July, whenever it is. But I do think you need the year and you need to stick with it. And I would just, I guess, predict that it would be 2025, kind of just a safe prediction, right? I would not expect it this year. And at this point, they've really not given us much reason to assume that it's 2024. But then also, we do need to see more of the game itself. We have every time seen a bit more and a little bit more of like a reflection of what the game is actually going to be like. I feel like maybe the first trailer we got of this game and the last trailer, those are like the two best looks at what type of game this actually is. But I would say the next time we see it, you probably need to do some sort of gameplay. And, is that necessarily what they normally do for these kind of things? Well, we've talked about their habits with Resident Evil in the past, right? They normally announce Resident Evil and they release it like within 9 or so months from when they announce it, right? Now, this game is a little bit different because you've shown it off, I think 3 or so times. You've never shown off like extreme, an entire gameplay segment, let's say, right? So I do feel you need to do some sort of like deep dive into this game the next time you show it. We do need to see, I would say, like extended gameplay, maybe a little bit of like communication. I don't remember if we've heard the characters talking to each other yet. So like we would, I think, need to kind of see that, because I feel like some of the most important things to this game, or things that people are wondering about this game, probably the biggest would maybe be the gameplay. Like, is it going to be similar to a Resident Evil? Is it going to be similar to this or that? And then I guess, like, what is it? And what is it could be, you know, again, how are these characters and their dynamic? What's the tone? Like, how serious versus maybe, like, more joking? That, you know, that kind of almost, like, plot stuff. That's also, I would say, on the top of people's, like, okay, well, what are they going to actually do with this game? So I continue to be excited for it, and, you know, it has been kind of funny every year just going into their, I think it's Capcom Presents or whatever they call it, but it's been funny going into them and just hearing or seeing, like, we all expect it, right? Like, you all know, or everybody knows every year, oh, what if Pragmata is going to be there? Well, it normally is. In fact, it has been very consistently. It's just a delay. This time you don't have to announce a delay. That's the good news. You can't announce a delay because you delayed it indefinitely. But this time I think we do need, you know, more info. That is, I guess, assuming that they do some sort of show, but again, they've been doing so well. They've been very consistent with their own, you know, presentations and whatnot. It's not like they have nothing to show. They have Pragmata, and that's not even the only thing they have to. Again, you got a Monster Hunter game coming. You have a Resident Evil game coming. You have actually multiple Resident Evil games, but that's a lot. Like, you can absolutely make a show. So I would absolutely expect a show in June or July, and hopefully we get something on Pragmata. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed to the channel, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.